Hello, my name is Samantha Wilson and I'm a Mitchell Community College student. And today my topic is depression and anxiety. Having anxiety and depression is like being scared and tired at the same time. It's a fear of failure, but no urges to be productive. It's wanting friends, but hating socializing. It's wanting to be alone, but not wanting to be lonely. It's feeling everything at once, then feeling paralyzing numb. 6.7% of American adults get at least one major depression episode in a year. If you're not good with percentages, that is 16.2 million adults in the United States. Depression and anxiety is a mental disease that affects the people with it and their loved ones. Some reasons why I decided to do my research on this is because a couple years ago my sister was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And after she was diagnosed, you could see a big change into her. And I just thought it was very weird. So I wanted to research more about it and see if it's how it is for everyone else. First, I will discuss what depression and anxiety generally is. Second, I'll discuss how the affects the person that has depression and anxiety and their loved ones around them. Finally, I will discuss the treatment options that the person with depression and anxiety can have. Depression is very different than being sad, and anxiety is way different than just worrying about something. According to Healthline, which is a website made in 1999 in San Francisco, California, they talk about depression and say it's feeling down and sad and upset is normal. It can be concerning feeling if you feel like that for several days or weeks on end. Some symptoms for depression is feeling hopeless, loss of interest of hobbies and activities that you once loved, not sleeping or sleeping all the time. You also might see a difference in how you eat. You might overeat or you might hardly eat. There are 5 different types of depression, and each one is categorized by symptoms that you have. So one person could have depression and it's different than someone else having the same type of depression. It's just different. Anxiety and depression might come hand to hand, but there's 2 total different things. According to Anxiety and Depression Association of America website, they say that depression and anxiety is a disorder. Disorders are different, but people with depression often experience symptoms similar to those of anxiety disorders, such as nervousness, being irritable, people sleeping, and concentration. Some symptoms of anxiety are feeling fatigued easily, having trouble recalling things, heart rate starts to race, grinding of teeth, trouble sleeping or falling asleep. Anxiety is when you get almost into a panic mode and different things trigger it. For example, if someone was having to decide on something that might be like life-changing, their heart might start racing and they may not sleep at night, and they might, like if you bring up the situation, they might get really mad very fast. Many people with depression have histories of anxiety disorder from a young age. Now that I've discussed the basics of what depression and anxiety is, I think I should discuss the difficulties that affect the person with depression and anxiety and how it also affects their loved ones. Anxiety and depression can affect anyone at any time in their life. How does anxiety and depression affect people with it? On September 19th, 2018, Adam said on a blog website called timetochange.org that he struggles with depression and anxiety, but he said depression and anxiety makes it hard to make friends and socialize because you just want to be alone. He also then said mental illness affects his life on day-to-day basis, particularly decisions he makes. As it hurts people who are diagnosed with depression, it also hurts the people that you love. Might ask yourself, what is the impact on the family and friends of someone who is depressed and anxiety? According to psychiatric Kendall Jenner reported on ABC News on a report called What is the Impact of an Anxiety Disorder on One's Family and Friends, says it affects family and friends in many different ways, specifically the symptoms. Most of the time, it makes the person isolate and irritable and affects the relationship with that person. I've also seen it by myself because my sister was diagnosed with it, and in the beginning, she first, how she used to act was she was happy all the time and super loud and wanted to be around people 24/7. And then after she was diagnosed with it, you could tell she was just different. She never wanted to be around anyone. She wanted to be by herself, and just so that she could go sleep in her bed, sometimes she would even be rude. And that also can kill relationships. Depression and anxiety can affect someone's life big time with their relationship and their day-to-day routines. Making a person isolated from themselves makes them mean to people around them, can make family members and friends feel unwanted. Now that we have learned about depression and anxiety and the impacts, I can share how to treat depression and anxiety. There are many different ways to treat depression and anxiety, and not one is the best choice. It's different for each person. The first option there is therapy and counseling, where you sit down with someone who you trust and feel comfortable around, and you tell them about your feelings and maybe some different situations in your life that you have trouble with. There's also prescription medicine that are called antidepressants that can also help for depression and anxiety. And there's also another more natural way and it is exercising and looking at your diet. Because whenever you do that, it helps your self-esteem. And while it helps your self-esteem, it also makes you feel like you look good. And then whenever you feel like you look good, it makes you happier. According to WebMD, strong relationships can help you feel better. Today I have discussed with you what depression is and anxiety is. Then I discussed the impacts of depression and anxiety on the person and their loved ones. Finally, I discussed the treatment options for depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety is a mental illness that affects the people with it and also their loved ones. In conclusion, depression is something that impacts many people. Even if you don't have depression, you should be aware of depression and anxiety.